Indian military tensions with the Chinese PLA remain tense as External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar travels to China for the first time since the 2020 Galwan Valley clashes.
Excellency, bilateral relationship, as you have noted, has been steadily improving since the meeting.
In Beijing, Jaishankar claimed, quote, conveyed India's support for China's SCO presidency, noted the improvement in our bilateral ties and expressed confidence that discussions during my visit will maintain that positive trajectory, unquote. But this time, the stakes are higher than ever before as the Tibet occupation debate is raging. Tibetan spiritual leader, the Dalai Lama, touched down in India's Ladakh near the LAC border. What's more, he was escorted in an Indian Air Force military plane. This is being seen by the CCP as a threat and a challenge to its military occupation of Tibet since its invasion in 1950s. Ahead of Jaishankar's visit, a Chinese embassy official warned the Modi government that Tibet-related issues have become a thorn in China-India relations and playing the Tibet card will end in shooting oneself in the foot, unquote. This follows buzz on social media that Indian military hit Chinese-backed militants inside Myanmar close to the Indian border. These militant groups are accused of being funded and armed by China to incite violence inside India in an effort to destabilize the Northeast and the Seven Sister States. The Indian Army has officially denied carrying out any such drone strikes and shut down any such news reports. However, users on social media claim wave after wave of Indian drone strikes inside Myanmar. So did these strikes really happen? We'll wait for an official confirmation before speculating. But what's really gotten under the skin of the CCP is that the Indian government officials, including Union Minister Kiren Rijiju, have dared China and openly backed the Dalai Lama and the right of the Tibetan Buddhists to elect their own spiritual leaders. CCP can't digest this. It says only the Communist Party of China will elect the next Tibetan Buddhist leader. So stay with us as we explore the big question. Has India finally dared to open the Tibet front against China? And why is New Delhi taking such a bold step now? It seems China is forgetting that Buddhism was born in India and that the 6th Dalai Lama was born in India's Arunachal Pradesh back in 1683. The CCP official added, quote, the reincarnation and succession of the Dalai Lama is inherently an internal affair of China, brooking no interference of any external forces, unquote. But why is India poking the panda on the Tibet issue? Just a week ago, the Indian Army revealed how China backed Pakistan with weapons and intelligence during the conflict with India. Lieutenant General Rahul R. Singh, Deputy Chief of the Army Staff, revealed how India faced two adversaries on one border.
China providing all possible support, and it's no surprise because if you were to look at statistics,
he explained, quote, we had one border and two adversaries, actually three. Pakistan was in the front, China was providing all possible support, and this is no surprise because 81% of military hardware that Pakistan is getting is all Chinese. China, of course, followed the good old dictum of kill with a borrowed knife. So he would rather use the neighbor to cause pain than get involved in the mudslinging match on the northern borders, unquote. Now, Chinese air defenses like the HQ-9 failed to protect Islamabad. Visuals and satellite images confirmed Indian airstrikes on 9 terror camps inside Pakistan, and then at least 10 Pakistani air bases were hit by Indian missiles, especially the BrahMos. But it seems the active role played by the PLA in an India-Pakistan conflict has not gone down well with the Modi government. If China can threaten India's sovereignty, then even New Delhi can lend support to the Tibet cause. Add to that China's continued violation of Indian sovereignty by building the CPEC corridor in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, which remains legally and historically Indian territory ever since it legally acceded to India during partition in 1947. On top of that, terror attacks in India and Kashmir, like the one in Pahalgam by Pakistan-backed terror groups, threaten to reignite a major conflict.
I would urge you to make it Don't think of it as India-Pakistan, think of it as India-Terroristan.
Amidst this backdrop, Jaishankar's visit to China is of immense importance. India has finally taken the front foot in this diplomatic face-off with the dragon. So after rejecting the CCP's claims on his reincarnation, the 14th Dalai Lama is now in Ladakh for a 45-day-long stay. Amid Z+ security, he received a warm welcome from hundreds of people who lined the streets to greet him. At the Leh airport, senior officials, political representatives and religious leaders were all present to receive the Buddhist spiritual leader. Addressing a large assembly, the Dalai Lama reminded the people of Ladakh of their important role in preserving the profound heritage of Tibetan Buddhist teachings. He announced, "We must uphold our sacred duty to sustain and share this wisdom and cultivate a heart filled with compassion and kindness for the benefit of all sentient beings." Unquote. During his stay in Ladakh, the Tibetan spiritual leader will reside at the Shiva Seal Phodrang in Leh. The location will also host a number of religious activities and teachings during his stay. He will hold community meetings and hold interactions with youth and religious communities. This after the Dalai Lama's 90th birthday celebrations in Dharamsala town in Himachal Pradesh grabbed global headlines. The celebrations were attended by Indian leaders including Union Minister Kiren Rijiju as well as the Chief Minister of Arunachal Pradesh, Pema Khandu. Arunachal Chief Minister also gave a history lesson to the Chinese Communist Party.
इंडिया से कोई भी स्टेट डायरेक्टली चाइना से बॉर्डर शेयर नहीं करता है. We share border with Tibet only.
He declared, if you look at the map, none of the Indian states directly share border with China. We share border with Tibet only. In 1950, China forcefully occupied Tibet. So officially, yes, Tibet is under China and that can't be ruled out. But originally, we share border with Tibet. Now, China also claims India's internationally recognized state of Arunachal as South Tibet, but that's just a CCP habit. It has a habit of claiming territories of all its neighbors. Just ask Japan or Taiwan, even the Philippines, and even Mongolia. Arunachal Chief Minister elaborated. In Arunachal, we share 3 international boundaries, with Bhutan approximately 150 kilometers, with Tibet 1200 kilometers, which is one of the longest in the country, and on the eastern side, Myanmar approximately 550 kilometers. His bold statement followed the Dalai Lama's open rejection of CCP's attempts to hijack the Tibetan culture. The Dalai Lama vowed, "I hereby reiterate that the Gaiden Phodrang Trust has the sole authority to recognize the future reincarnation. No one else has any such authority to interfere in this matter." Even the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi extended birthday greetings to the Dalai Lama. Praising the spiritual leader, Modi posted on platform X. His message has inspired respect and admiration across all faiths. We pray for his continued good health and long life. India is a thriving secular democracy, and the CCP doesn't understand these terms. It's neither secular nor a democracy. Just ask the Uyghur population of Xinjiang. China is now playing the same playbook in Tibet. So both Prime Minister Modi's wishes as well as attendance by Indian dignitaries signaled New Delhi's tactical acknowledgement of the Tibetan government in exile. Now, with India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar in China for a high-level SCO security meeting, a familiar tension has resurfaced on the Tibet border. The meeting of the Council of Ministers of Foreign Affairs of the SCO will be held in Tianjin on the 15th of July. All eyes will be on the discussions between Jaishankar and his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi in China for the first time since Galwan clashes in 2020. Both the Indian Army and the Chinese PLA lost troops in that conflict. What irked India is that the CCP attempted to salami slice at the border even though the pandemic was raging. The pandemic emerged from Wuhan and spread across the world, crippling economies and leading to millions of lives lost. All this while the CCP was accused of silencing whistleblowers and hiding the outbreak until it was too late for the world to contain this deadly virus. While India-China did agree to ease tensions after a Modi-Xi meeting at the BRICS summit in Russia last year, a lack of trust that will be hard to rebuild. Meanwhile, China has launched an economic war in an attempt to contain India's rise to become the world's third biggest economy. The CCP has now banned exports of rare earth metals to India, which will impact industries from defense to automobiles.
Wake-up call for all those who have become over-reliant on certain geographies.
Bharat is now launching a project to produce rare earths domestically to counter China's weaponization of trade. Reports suggest Wang Yi might also travel to India in July itself to discuss border issues with India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval. But what the CCP is really worried about is the international support for Tibetan refugees in India. Even US Secretary of State Marco Rubio claimed Washington was committed to promoting respect for the human rights and fundamental freedoms of Tibetans. Messages of support were also given by former US President Bill Clinton and George W. Bush, as well as Barack Obama, who said Dalai Lama has shown what it means to speak up for freedom and dignity. Just last year, the US government had passed a law to support the Tibetan people. CCP's worst nightmare would be India and the United States uniting behind the Tibetan cause and questioning China's military invasion and occupation of Tibet since the 1950s. But what do you believe? Should India openly back Tibet as a counter to China violating India's sovereignty in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir? Leave a comment with your opinion, hit the like button and subscribe to Inconnect News.